Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another plant video. I'm really excited about today because we're going to be talking about trellising plants, and it's one of my favorite things to do because I feel like it really takes your plant to like the next level, like it makes it just look so pretty and you just want to look at it more. This video was inspired by Jackie's Jungle in the Desert on Instagram. She posted this really beautiful photo of her string of hearts trailing and trellising onto this like heart bamboo trellis, and it looked so cool, and now I need one of those. But it got me thinking about how many different ways there are of trellising plants. Like there are so many ways. There's like wires, there's wood, there's bamboo, there's just so many different ways, and I wanted to share it with you guys today and show you one of the more simple ways of doing it. It's not as scary as you think it is. It's really not super complicated, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the video. So the very first way that I started trellising plants was with this bamboo that I bought on Amazon. It was like a giant pack. I think you can find them at Lowe's, and I know for sure you can find them on Amazon because I like Amazon and I buy everything on Amazon. So this was really easy to get. I would definitely recommend that you guys go and purchase these. It's useful in a lot of different ways of like just supporting your plant or making it look really pretty like this. But yeah, I would definitely recommend going and grabbing one of these. Now with these sticks, you can pretty much tie them however way you want to tie them. The easiest way would be in that shape that is up there, and you pretty much just tie them and stick them in the soil. That's like it. You can buy them pre-made. I think it's a lot easier to buy them pre-made, but yeah, you can definitely like make your own trellis if you want to and if you have the time to. My dad did make me that one, and I really love it. Now, trellising the plant onto that trellis, I've done nothing to that plant to make it stay the way that it's staying. The aerial roots pretty much just kind of like step onto the sticks, and they don't actually wrap around the way that I feel like Hoyas do. But I mean, it's keeping it pretty supported. It's not like flopping all over the place. It's pretty much like you are building a wall for your plant to climb up on. That's it. It's not complicated at all. But if you have a problem with your plant like flopping forward or something, you can go and buy these like gardening ties. These are flexible ones. I think they're slightly more expensive than just the regular wire ones. It's really not that much of a difference because they both do the same thing, but I like these because I think that my mom got them at the dollar store or something and we got them for cheap. But yeah, you can just go ahead and tie this onto the stem. It's really easy. There's really not much complication to this. I'm probably going to repeat that a lot of times because it is just so simple. Again, I am a beginner. I might be doing stuff wrong and it might not be this simple, but I pretty much just stick it in the soil and make sure that I'm not sticking it in a section where there are a bunch of roots, because then the roots get damaged, then the roots can get rot. So try not to do that. But what I do to make it a lot easier on myself, once I put it in, I squish the pot and I put my finger in where I'm gonna stick the trellis, and you can pretty much feel if there are roots there, and then you just kind of push around and sort of make two little holes of where your trellis is gonna go and then stick it in. For that, I would just do the same thing but with 4 fingers and just try and kind of dig a little hole, make sure that your plant is not being damaged, and then just stick it in and kind of bury it in with your plant. It's pretty easy. I know that you can also totally repot your plant, so you could take the whole plant out of the pot, put the trellis in, and then put the plant in, and then sort of plant them both together as if they're one plant connected. There are several ways of doing it. Just pretty much the point is to try and avoid damaging the root system, because your root system might be super nice and you might end up like totally cutting it up and it making the plant sad. But yeah, that is this sort of way of trellising. And then the other way of trellising a plant are with these U-hoops. So again, for these U-hoops, I did not do anything to this Hoya to get it to do this. Pretty much the only thing that you do to like train your plant to climb is move the stem or the vine to where it sort of wraps around it. And typically, especially with this Hoya, it's really, really easy, and the Hoya just kind of keeps climbing. It is actually a whole lot easier than you guys think. You really just have to try it yourself. I really, really enjoy how the bamboo like wood looks. I think it's super cute. I think that it adds some like nice natural vibe to the space. And then the next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is just like plain old wire. So this is a hanger that I took from my dad. This is something that's very malleable, and you can pretty much make any shape out of it. And once you do make a shape out of it, you can just trellis your plant onto it, and it seems to work just fine. I've seen it before. A lot of people like to make the sort of circle hoop with just regular plain old wire. The only sort of tip I would give is to try and find a plant that has several leaves, so that way the wire isn't as exposed. But it is a really cute and cheap option, and you can pretty much make any shape that you want. And there are several other sort of trellises out there that are metal and that look amazing. I know that there's one on Amazon right now. It's a little pricey, but I've had my eye on that for a while now because it just looks so cool. But I don't personally have a plant right now that I think I could trellis on that. And you could also find metal trellises more often. I feel at Home Depot and Lowe's, or at least at my Home Depot and Lowe's, they have those more than they have the bamboo ones. If you guys watched my houseplant tour, you guys saw that I have my Cebu Blue trellising onto my clothes rack, and that is something that you can do. It doesn't have to be an actual trellis. It doesn't have to be something that looks like a trellis. You could just trellis your plant onto pretty much anything, and it's amazing. It's so nice. I know that a lot of people have also been known to add a plant onto like a bench or even just like a plant stand like this one, and they will trellis and sort of wind around their vines onto that, and it just looks amazing. Then there are moss poles. So I feel like everybody and their mother knows about moss poles. You can make them yourself with a stick like this and just some moss and wrap it around with a fish line. I've seen Minimalist Callie do it. There are several videos out there on how to make your own moss pole. People also use that cocoa wire thing, and they do that as a moss pole. They also have pre-made moss poles on Amazon, and they have different sizes. You can also stack them. They're really helpful and useful, and I want to purchase one of them, but those pre-made ones are a little bit pricey, and I feel like I don't have a plant that absolutely needs it right now. And now we will move on to the way of how I'm going to teach you to trellis your plant very easily. If you're trellising really small plants like these Hoyas that I have here, this is technically a Dischidia, but if you're going to be trellising these small plants with very small 2-inch or 4-inch pots, I found in the middle of the night last night, like literally last night, I found that you can use these flower, like fake flower stems, and you can use this as a trellis, and I just think it's the cutest thing. I trellised this Hoya rotundifolia yesterday in the middle of the night because it just sort of hit me as a, ooh, I could use one of those. So I don't believe that fake flowers are super cheap, but I think that these stems without the flowers are a lot cheaper. And if you have some like lying around from an arrangement of like a wedding or something that you used to use and have the flowers have gotten old, you could keep this little wire and use them on your plants. And it's perfect because the wire in them is not exposed and you just see the green on them. And I feel like it just looks kind of cute. It looks like it's a part of the plant and it looks nice. I don't know how else to describe that. Last night I did find one of these and it was sort of a half ripped So I decided to just use it on my rotundifolia because my rotundifolia was just, it was just trailing like crazy. Like the tendril was just flying all over the place and they was starting to roll into the other. So I decided that it was time for a trellis so that way I could see its beautiful leaves, because if you leave your plant like that for too long, the new growth tends to not be super happy about it and it seems to die. So it's best to trellis Hoyas at least. Whenever they start to tendril out like that, it's best to get it climbing on something before it starts to die. But I did want to show you guys what I do today. These guys are starting to sort of vine outwards, and while I don't really mind that, like I said, I'm a little bit worried that if I leave them doing that, the new growth is going to fall off and die. So I want to trellis them as soon as I can. But yeah, so I'm going to start off with the soil because it's a lot easier, I feel like, than leca. Both of them are pretty easy, but like I did before, I put my finger in here. I already squished the pot. I'm going to put my finger in on the other side, and then I'm just going to stick this guy in here until it hits the bottom of the pot. So it's gonna look like this. It's gonna look a little funky for a little bit. And because this plant is not super long, I am going to use one of these. So it is always best to try and put the trellis on an area where you see a stem already vining outward that way. So when you're trellising plants, you pretty much just want to be careful about the new growth and the growth points that are growing in on your plant, just because if you put your growth point like side to side on your trellis, the growth point that would probably come from the one that's touching it will definitely die off, so you'll only end up with one leaf. So this plant in particular has several other little baby tendrils coming out right here. So I do want to do 2 of these. Make sure to be like very gentle when doing this. And then we're gonna put a hole on this side. Yay! Okay, so as you guys can see, I did not actually tie this one. I just sort of leaned it against it, and hopefully it will continue growing, and once it continues growing, it'll start wrapping itself around, and if it doesn't start wrapping itself around, I will sort of aid it and help wrap it around. There are still some tendrils that are sticking out and sticking up, but that is not long enough for me to try and sort of lean it onto one way, so I'm just gonna sort of let it do its thing. But that is pretty much it. You don't have to do much to it. It's really nice. The main point here is just to try and make sure to not damage your roots and to try to make sure to not damage your new growth that's coming in. But yeah, that's pretty much everything that I wanted to show you guys today. I feel like I covered the basics. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave it in the comments down below. If you guys like the video, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you like me and you like plant videos, go ahead and subscribe if you want to. But that is going to be it for today's video, so I guess I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!